Welcome to When Good Things Happen, where our mission is to inspire people to discover and learn about all the things that can really make the golden years the very best of your life and share a few financial ideas to help you make your vision for retirement a reality. Host Tom Gandolfi is your guide on a how-to adventure to help enhance your retirement lifestyle.
Hey, thanks for joining us once again for an episode of When Good Things Happen. I'm pretty excited about what we're doing today because we're going to kind of get out of the box just a little bit. We're going to talk about the great outdoors. I've got with me as a guest Spencer Sutlive, and Spencer is the CEO of Rugged Road Outdoors. And Rugged Road Outdoors obviously is an outdoorsy company, and they make a really, really cool product that I've been fortunate enough to experience myself, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But really, what we're here to talk about today is kind of getting out and enjoying the great outdoors. And Spencer is a great guy to do it. He's been a lot of cool places. He's had some pretty interesting adventures that he's going to share just a little bit about. And a little background on him: he's a UGA grad. He won Entrepreneur of the Year from UGA when he was in school. So he's got a very cool background. And Spencer, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate you taking the time to let me be on the podcast today. And, my favorite thing to talk about is being outdoors. So,
all right, cool. Well, that's what we're going to talk about. And, I mentioned that Spencer's company is an outdoorsy company. And what they make actually is a line of products that can kind of help you enjoy the great outdoors. And your flagship is this really cool new cooler that you guys made. And I'm sure some of you out there have probably purchased or maybe have seen some of these coolers. We're not going to name any brand names that have extraordinary ice retention capabilities where the ice lasts for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. Those coolers are all great, but the problem is they're way too heavy. By the time you load them up with ice and drinks, and there's no way you're even going to carry them around. Well, Spencer, being the entrepreneur that he is, really kind of dug into this, and he made a line of coolers that have all of the same properties and all the same qualities, just as strong, but they weigh much, much less. So they're great for people that want to go enjoy the great outdoors, but don't want to have a 50-pound weight dragging behind them all the time. So that's kind of what he did. And the reason I thought timing was good for this is, Atlanta's got great weather sometimes, and the fall is approaching. And to me, being an Atlanta guy now for over 40 years, the fall is the best time of year here. I mean, the weather's beautiful. You can get out and really enjoy it. And there's some beautiful places in Georgia. So I wanted to give everyone listening some ideas through Spencer's eyes of where you might want to think about going in the fall and how you could, kind of spend a little time enjoying the outdoors. So, Spencer, what do you like doing outdoors? What's kind of your thing? Are you a hiker? Are you a climber? Are you a canoeer, a kayaker, any of that stuff?
Yeah, so I'd say I've started to dabble recently in kayaking and things like that. But traditionally, I've always been a really big rock climber. That's been my bread and butter, and always pretty fascinated by it. And going into college, I actually started going to a gym a lot, and I just went and bought a couple carabiners and some ropes, and it was probably a little dangerous at first, but
yeah, a little,
just a little bit. And we went up to actually Mount Yonah in Cleveland, Georgia, and that's where I really started to learn how to rock climb. And even if you're not a big climber, it's really just a beautiful place. It's about an hour 15 from a little north of Atlanta where I live, and it's a pretty easy hike, but incredible view. And that is just one of my favorite places to go. And, climbing is definitely something that has shaped Rugged Road. It's shaped who I am. And I just really enjoy being outdoors and also being able to push myself in that kind of way.
That's cool.
So
there you go. Any of you who are wondering what you're going to do with your free time when you retire, there you go. You're going to take up rock climbing. You're going to go to the store, you're going to buy some carabiners and head out to the mountain and start climbing. So that's a great place in Georgia to go. And, what else can you maybe suggest that people might want to consider doing?
Yeah, so, back again to Mount Yonah, there's great climbing there, but it's also incredible hiking, and a lot of people just, go, and you can make it all the way to the top. It's like a stone mountain, but just very good views.
Nice.
But, a slightly easier hike would be if you go up to Tallulah Gorge.
Okay.
Been there quite a few times as well, and it's one of those hidden gems that some people know about, some people don't, and, it's right off the road if you take 985 all the way up towards the mountains, and within a 5-minute walk, you start seeing beautiful, beautiful waterfalls. And that is just something that if you haven't visited that and you live in Georgia, I would highly recommend it. Just taking a day trip up there, and then maybe cut over to Blue Ridge afterwards, and it's something you won't regret.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've actually been there myself, and it is beautiful. It's really, really a nice place. I'm trying to provide people with ideas through others' experiences because 2020 was such a frustrating year. And for people that maybe are a little active or want to get out and do some things, it was tough being kind of shut down for an entire year. So that was really why I wanted to try to get into some things that were exciting to do. So we already mentioned that you're a Georgia grad. And another thing that fall brings, obviously, in addition to some outdoor fun, is college football.
Oh, yeah. Great tailgating.
Yeah, great tailgating, and you've already hit me with the Go Dogs. And I'm a proud father of 2 University of Alabama graduates, so I've got to hit you back with a Roll Tide.
Oof. All right. You make my blood pressure spike a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you. But football season's approaching. Tailgating's the thing for sure. And something else that I was really excited that I saw is coming back is the outdoor concert series. Mm-hmm. And that's something also that you ever done any of those over at Chastain?
Yeah, so I've actually been to Chastain a couple of times. Verizon Amphitheater,
yeah.
That's always a good one.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling a little risky, Lakewood can be a good time as well.
Yeah, yeah. Things have got a little bit different down there lately, but no, the outdoor concert series is great that it's coming back as well. So, you mentioned kayaking. Let's talk about the kayaking. So I actually have some clients that I work with that kayak now. So what made you want to get into it?
So one of my biggest climbing partners is also just an avid mountain biker, kayaker, everything in between. And he's really who sold me on kayaking, and he got me my first kayak. And last year during COVID, during the shutdown, like you said, it was a hard time, but it was also a good time to get outdoors. So, he took me on my first couple trips on northern Chattahoochee, which a lot of people don't know. It's pretty calm towards Atlanta, but there are some decent rapids to at least learn on. And then there's the Cartacay, about an hour and a half away from Georgia, or from Atlanta. And there's a couple other rivers he took me on, and it was just a really good time. We went up near Blue Ridge, and we did about a 14-mile kayaking trip.
Wow.
And we actually took the coolers behind us because they float. So we put our drinks in one cooler and then the food in the other. Went about 6 miles in, camped, and then woke up and took the rest of the way out the next day. So that was a really fun trip. And my buddy Robert Pope, he's the one who's really,
he's kind of the guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy. And I honestly, at this point, I wouldn't go without him because we're doing some whitewater and things like that. But, there's kind of the extreme side of kayaking with, you can go up to all these different rapids and things like that. But there's also, sit on top kayaking just around the Chattahoochee, go rent some paddle boards, things like that, and go over to Lake Lanier. So
I think some people fish kayaking too, don't they?
Correct.
Yeah.
A lot of people really get into that. And I think, when it comes to the outdoors, it's about finding what really recharges you. And that's what it's about for me. And I find a lot of inspiration. So, sometimes when you're out on the water, whether it's kayaking or paddleboarding or, if you're taking a hike or things like that, it's just getting out there and trying it and not being afraid to try something new.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've learned over the past few years.
That's neat. That's really cool. So you threw something in there that I just want to kind of circle back to for a second. You said your cooler floats?
Yes, it does float. So, the core of our cooler is a really high density durable foam, and then we coat it in the polyurea spray that was actually coated to developed to coat the walls of the Pentagon after 9/11 to make them blast proof. So we combine those two components together, and that is what results in our cooler being so lightweight. But an added plus is the fact that it also floats upright. So it's great for kayaking trips and days by the lake, or people take it out to sandbars, things like that. So that's a pretty fun added feature there.
I think it'd be great to have it at an Alabama football game tailgate.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to complain if they're being sold.
All right. I just had to pull your leg a little bit more there. So what's your favorite place? If you were just going to, if someone was thinking, you know what, I've really never been too much of an outdoorsy person, and I'm not having to work as much anymore. Maybe I'm not working at all, and I just want to go do something really, really cool that's outdoors. It's not going to put me in traction that I'm going to be able to do pretty easily. And, maybe somewhere in the United States. Doesn't necessarily have to be Georgia, but somewhere domestically here, because it's a little easier to travel domestically now. Where would you go? Where would you tell them to go?
So without a question, hands down, I would say Yosemite National Park. And I think in our country, the national parks sometimes are overlooked a little bit, or at least I did that growing up a little bit. And over the past few years, I've ventured out, and Yosemite in California is hands down my favorite place I ever went.
Really?
I was balling on a budget when I was in college. And,
I would imagine.
What I tried to do is every semester I would take about one trip, and I was window washing at the time, so I'd save up some money, and I would find the cheapest flight out there. So it involved me going from Atlanta to Texas to Los Angeles, and then taking a plane to Merced, and then taking a bus to Yosemite, which, most people can just fly into Los Angeles and then they can rent a car.
Yeah.
Or they can fly Atlanta to Los Angeles, and then there's this airline called Boutique Airlines that's actually subsidized by the government. And it'll fly you right into Merced, which is this really tiny, cool airport right outside of Yosemite. And then you can take a bus for like $10 into Yosemite. And for me, I just flew out there by myself and walked up, found a random group of people to camp with, and was kind of like living out of a backpack, climbing, doing that kind of thing. But Yosemite has everything from that all the way to hotels and really nice resorts. So it's a really good mixed bag of accommodations for all shapes and sizes of people. And it has really good access. There's really good roads and infrastructure throughout it. I was actually pretty surprised by that. But you can go into Half Dome Village and some of these different areas there, and the scenery is like something out of a movie.
Really? That's awesome.
Absolutely beautiful. I've been a couple times, and I tell anyone who will listen to me, go to Yosemite.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to take you up on that, because I haven't been myself. I haven't. I've been a lot of cool places, but I haven't been to Yosemite National Park, so I'm going to have to add that to my to-do list.
Yeah, no, I would definitely recommend it. I mean, just the trees alone there are they're massive, beautiful. I mean, it's just such an incredible place. It feels like you're in a different planet. I'll never forget the first time I went there. I've been traveling for like 2 days. And again, for everyone listening, that is not the only way to do it. I was doing it on a budget.
Yeah.
But, we
You're a college kid making it happen however you could.
Exactly. We got there really late at night, slept in a tent that night, kind of unsure about the whole thing. And I wake up, and I'll never forget walking outside and looking up, and as high as I could see were just these beautiful rock walls. And one of them was actually Half Dome, which I looked at that and I was like, I have to climb that someday, which I actually came back a year later and I did.
Did you really? Wow, good for you.
But just the massive, beautiful nature of it, it's just overwhelming.
Majestic,
it's really hard to put words to. And it's a really nice place to go and have some alone time and just enjoy nature. And I promise you will not regret it.
And that's a different kind of getaway for people. We're all raised differently, and we all kind of have different things in mind when the word vacation is thrown around. But I think it's really cool when people, step out of their box just a little bit and do something different and do something that's maybe a little bit out of their comfort zone, because you're probably going to see something amazing. And Yosemite sounds like it really is.
Totally agree with that.
And I guess there's some other places out. If you're going out west, you could probably add in some other things that are pretty awesome out there too. You could add in Grand Canyon. You could add in Redwood National Forest. There's other things you could add too, I guess, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a goal for me, I've actually been building out a van for climbing and things like that, and surfing and kayaking. And eventually, once I finish it out, the goal is to go cross country. And, depending how much time some of your viewers have, I would definitely recommend either taking a road trip out there or even renting a car halfway and, like you said, stopping through the Grand Canyon and going to Yosemite.
Yeah, and seeing some other stuff.
Yeah, just checking it out while you're out there, because it really is a beautiful country that we live in. And it's definitely worth checking out.
That's pretty cool. And I want to just spend a minute or two, because most of my clients are people who are either getting really close to retirement or they're already in retirement. And a lot of them have grandkids. And, I think as parents and grandparents, we always want to try to do a little something and kind of point our kids or our grandkids in the right direction. And I think what Spencer's done is pretty amazing. And maybe it's a story you'll want to share with your grandkids. And he went to school, He graduated. He's an entrepreneur. He owns his own company. He came up with an innovative idea, and he's out there kind of making it in the world. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it's another reason I wanted to have him on, in addition to just providing with some cool ideas about where to go and what to do and just some outdoorsy fun stuff. So tell me just a little bit about Rugged Road. How I know kind of you created the cooler and you just started your business, but tell me a little bit about the process.
So, when I tell stories, I like to take it 3 days back, I'm sure Casey has shared with you.
That's okay, yeah.
But for me, I've always been a bit of a serial entrepreneur, doing lemonade stands as a kid, just always trying to make a buck, do different things. And when I was in high school, when I was 14, the pocket t-shirt craze was kind of big. And me and my brothers started a t-shirt company called Southern Brown Clothing.
Okay.
And we were in about 50 stores.
Really?
And we didn't know what we were doing. I was 14 years old. We lost some money, but I learned a lot. And then from there, I did Petrie pressure washers as a pressure washing company, Gwinnett Tree Cycle as a Christmas tree recycling company, all just different, things going on. And I met a buddy who had heard about this spray that was, developed to coat the walls of the Pentagon after 9/11, make it blast proof. And it was so strong that you could spray it on an egg and you could throw it off of a building and the egg wouldn't break. And I just thought that was a fantastic idea. And he knew I had some experience with entrepreneurship and things like that. And he was just telling me about that idea and just wanted to start walking down that road with me. And so that was the tail end of high school. And, I had a little bit of money, probably an unusual amount for an 18-year-old, stored up from some of my other businesses. And it's pretty gung-ho. And, I went and found this product development team in California. And we made a little bit of headway with them, but they ended up going bankrupt, and that was a pretty tough time. And the name of the game is Rugged Road, though, so it's the path less traveled, pursuing hard things. And once they went bankrupt, we went back to square one, and I went back to my roots. That's why I share the whole story. I started selling T-shirts, hats, all kinds of things like that, just to get the name out there, get the brand going. And I spent pretty much all of college just getting brand recognition, trying to build a platform to launch this cooler while trying to, do some R&D, a little backwoods style with very limited budget.
Right.
And, skipping all the way to last year, we finally launched the cooler, what I call the rudimentary ugly stepchild proof of concept version. And we actually couldn't keep it in stock. We were selling it faster than we could make it, and people loved the idea. So I was able to raise some capital and bring some strategic players into the game. And we've now released the version 2, which is what you have seen.
Good deal.
So that might have been a bit more of a mouthful than
no,
you were
that's
looking
okay.
for,
I'm glad you shared.
And that's the quickest way I can share.
Absolutely. You know what? This podcast is supposed to be about inspiring people to do things. And, we kind of talked about the outdoors a little bit, and hopefully that some of the people that are listening are going to check out your recommendations and go have a little bit of fun. But at the same time, I think your story is really inspirational. And I think it's something that, the people that I work with every day that do have older kids or they have grandkids, I think it's something they can share with them. And, if I were to kind of sum your story up, is that you had a vision to be a successful entrepreneur, and you've done whatever you've had to do to try to make that happen. And that's really cool. If we can get a little more of that going in the country, we're going to be in for a really great future. So I love seeing things like that happen, and I love those kind of stories. So congrats to you, and good job on that for sure.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Absolutely. So if someone's kind of interest been piqued about this floating mega strong light cooler, how could they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so they can, just pull out their phone or computer and just Google Rugged Road or Rugged Road Outdoors, or they can check us out on social media at Rugged Road Outdoors, and they'll probably deal with me or Casey.
All right,
and,
well, good.
Love to chat with them.
Good, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hopefully you'll get a few phone calls, and you know what? Even if things are a rugged road for you moving forward, you're going to be fine. You're a sharp guy, and you've got great vision. So congrats on that. That brings me to sort of my financial tip for today. And I think Spencer's got a really good story. And for anyone who's listening, whether you're already retired or you're thinking about it, or maybe you're just younger, or maybe one of your grandparents is making you listen to this podcast that you really don't want to listen to, which is a possibility. But if you're in any of those groups, I think that starting your financial plan early makes a lot of sense. And there's this little thing called compound interest that we can earn on our money, and the more time we have for compound interest to do its thing, the better off we're going to be. And, I work with people every day, and some of those people have been saving and investing since they were in their 20s or 30s. And even if they were in careers that didn't necessarily pay them, a huge salary every year, they've got a really nice nest egg built up, and they're going to have a great future. I also work with people that maybe make a little more money and maybe a little bit more free spending on the way and didn't start planning, and it's going to be a little bit more challenging for them. So the takeaway financially is that whether you're young or old, it's really never too late. But the younger or the earlier you can start with a plan to start putting a little something away, investing it in a way that meets your goals and your ambitions and your risk tolerances and all those cool things, is really going to be in your best interest. The American economy has certainly had good days and bad days. Some people think that we've got rough water in front of us, and maybe we do. Some people think the opposite. Maybe they're right. What I do know is that what's been done in our country has been nothing short of amazing. And I would really highly recommend everyone to get out and participate in the financial gifts that we've been given as Americans, and get invested, do it early, get your kids on the right track. And if they won't listen to you, and I know sometimes kids don't want to listen to their parents or maybe even their grandparents, get them involved with somebody else. Let them watch YouTube videos about personal finance or TikTok videos about personal finance. Anything that's going to get them to stop and consider what they can do for themselves is going to be really, really valuable. So I'd highly encourage you to do that. And also, I'd highly encourage you to check out the national parks and Tallulah Gorge, because you're going to have a lot of fun. And check out Rugged Road, too. I think they've got a great product. Spencer's got a great story, and I'd love to see them do well because of what they've done. Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up for today. Spencer, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
Absolutely. It was a really good conversation, and I hope some people learned a little something and have some fun with the outdoors this fall. If you're looking for information about retirement, or I can answer any questions for anyone about the show or the program or personal finance or anything else, you can certainly find us on the web at 3bfg.com. You can also go to Facebook and search Three Bridges Financial Group and visit us there. You're also welcome to call our office. That's going to wrap it up. We're going to come back with another podcast episode soon, and thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to When Good Things Happen. If you enjoyed today's show, visit whengoodthingshappen.com to share your retirement lifestyle dream, access information about our guests, and sign up for our newsletter. Be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Three Bridges Financial Group is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC, AEWM. AEWM and Three Bridges Financial Group are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as a sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Three Bridges Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute as tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Three Bridges Financial Group.